A very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome from the Cape Coast Stadium. Semi-finals day at the 2017 West African Football Union Cup of Nations, and the first of two games brings together Benin and Nigeria in this spectacular corner of our host nation, Ghana. A little overview of the castle and the port, just maybe 5 kilometers from the stadium here. Great tourist attraction, and on the day off between matches, the rest day yesterday, it was a crowded area with fans, players, and all sampling this unique environment. Very historic, very traditional in so many ways, in a fascinating mix of the old and the new here in Ghana. A very high-tech nation in so many ways, but still reliant on industries which have served them for so many centuries, and wonderful hosts they have been. It's a truly state-of-the-art venue here, the Cape Coast Stadium, brand spanking new, just 1 year old, and the perfect backdrop for this day of two semi-finals in one here. So welcome everybody as the tournament builds to a climax, live on Fox Sports Africa, and going out, of course, to all our affiliates channels. A tournament ambitious and groundbreaking in its conception, captivating football fans all across Africa and beyond. And after some high drama in the final round of group matches, the best surely yet to come as we face into the final four. Later here, the hosts Ghana against Niger, but it is Benin, the surprise element in this semi-final lineup, who start us off today against Nigeria, and I'm delighted to be joined once more by Ben Graham. Ben.
Well, Paul, definitely to add more meat to the bones, what we're going to witness today is going to be one of the best games ever, because if you really look at Nigeria and Benin meeting up today, the last time both sides met was 4 weeks and 2 days ago, and that was when Nigeria beat Niger by 2-0 in Nigeria to qualify on a 2-1 aggregate scoreline for the tournament in 2018 Kenya. So the game tonight, or the game today, is going to be, for me, a revenge in the mindset of the Beninois team, and for Nigeria, it's a mark of showing their superiority over the Squirrels of Benin.
Yes, they've certainly confounded expectations here in this tournament. They got underway edging aside Cape Verde in the preliminary round, and announced themselves properly on the tournament map with a shock victory over Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire never really recovered from that, I don't think, through the rest of the tournament. And then everybody said, well, they've lost 4-0 to Senegal, that's put them firmly in their place. But no, they rebounded in an incredible final night in the group. And so much, surely, so much scrutiny and expectation, even though Nigeria finally found the key to scoring, Ben. The weight of expectation at home could be overwhelming today, surely, with all the millions watching with us in Nigeria.
Certainly, they have found their mojo back in the competition. Remember, when Nigeria started, they were a bit flat. They were not getting the goals and the fine. There was a young man known as Anthony Okpotu who got the goal king in Nigeria, yet was able to struggle in this competition. And what a way to get a goal against Ghana. And so this young man, Okpotu, is the one to look out for in the match against Benin, and certainly is looking forward to getting a goal as well.
They are back where they saved themselves here. That might be seen to be a good omen for this game today for Nigeria. The victory here a couple of nights ago against Ghana in this self-same stadium. I think players often do look at these things like that. Back we go to where it all turned out nicely for us. I think they'll almost view this as a home away from home for the moment, unless they meet Ghana again, of course.
Well, they're looking forward to meeting Ghana in the finals. Of course, that's for Nigeria. It's their major objective now. If they're able to get to the finals, they think that the $100,000 prize money is going to be theirs. But you can only talk about it depending on what Benin are able to put up for Nigeria. Remember, the surprise package in the competition were two teams, Niger and Benin. Now, for Benin able to beat Niger and making it up at top in Group B was a big testament to their competition quest.
Temperature a little higher today, just edging up towards 30 degrees. Certainly the sun umbrellas will come in useful. It's been overcast for most of the week, but not today. The sun has truly broken through. The sun shines on the righteous, so they say here on a special day in Ghana. It is Founders' Day here, a huge public holiday, a great festival, and this 2017 WAFU Cup of Nations providing the footballing element to the festival. And I think it goes without saying that already outside, the crowd building up for the second game, and it is going to be an enormous occasion.
Yep, but now you definitely are talking about the scorers of Benin parading 16 years, 17 years old players who have really made their mark in the competition. Gomer, 16 years of age, Ogolola, 17, and indeed their football over here is a matured mindset, and they have also been able to tame a lot of you know, mature players as well. It's expected though, but Nigeria will come in with a lot of arsenals, because remember, they have played Benin before. They know exactly what Benin bring on the table, and not much has changed from the two teams ever since the last met on the 19th of August.
Yes, bound to be fresh in the minds. Benin might look at it all and say, hey, we pushed them close once before. Why should we not think that we will get it done today in a one-off game, remember? And Nigeria, on the other hand, as you said, could turn it around and say, well, we know we should respect them, but we did get the better of them the last time. Two-legged games essentially different in the mindset, perhaps, also. But Nigeria basically have already been through one final. The game in the group against Ghana turned itself into that. It was win or go home, really. Coming through what was a significant test of their mettle. And just to repeat, those chaps on that far side will not be alone for very long. They're already massing outside, enjoying the bars and the takeaway stalls. All part of the colour of the footballing world here. Wonderful to be here. And colour in abundance later.
Well, so you have the die-hard supporters group of Ghana up here in the stadium, and they only do the cheerleading better when Ghana is playing. They're also definitely going to be here. That depends on who you support right now. It is going to be Nigeria or Benin. That's what the fans are torn between now. They're thinking, do we have to support Nigeria to get to the finals? So they meet Ghana or Benin, so we beat them and qualify and win the cup. Well, it's up to them to decide.
Interesting, yeah. Maybe some will just be drawn to the case of the underdog, Benin's traditional role in this tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the national teams of Benin and Nigeria.
Mesdames, Messieurs, voici les équipes nationales du Bénin et du Nigeria.
So here we go then, a 3 p.m. kickoff for the first of our two semi-finals. A tournament which has produced many shocks and no end of drama. Nigeria duly claiming their semi-final place. Among the pre-tournament favourites, of course, even if they have seldom lived up to the billing so far in this tournament. But they return here to the Cape Coast Stadium, where they got the win they desperately needed against Ghana. By contrast, few truly gave Benin much hope of being here. A shock win over Côte d'Ivoire woke everybody up to their capabilities, but then a crushing defeat against Senegal, outsiders against Niger. But with Niger imploding, with sendings off, injuries and mistakes, Benin battled away, and then left it so late to score, there was no time for Niger to respond again. Senegal have fallen, Côte d'Ivoire have fallen, Benin traditionally in the shadow of nations like that, but now believing it is their time to shine.
And now, the national anthem of Nigeria.
Suivons à présent l'hymne national du Nigeria.
Some support here in this corner of Ghana for the most populous nation in West Africa, but the men in the green here today know that all the scrutiny is back home with all the many massed millions of supporters expecting little else than a place in the final.
That obviously is what they need to fight for. Nigeria coming to competition, not really getting their tactics right, not getting their results, but then against Ghana, they got it right and they are here.
So let's give you the team news. For Benin, the goalkeeper Steve Gologinin and the defenders Rodrigue Fasinu and Mama Bayere are ever present, but 3 changes today. Nabil Yaro comes in at centre-back. Idrissa Saliou and Jules Elegbede, both substitutes against Niger. Starting here, Elegbede, of course, scored that dramatic last-minute winner, which turned the group on its head.
And that's the rigging is up there with Kukpo. Kukpo has been tormenting most centre-backs in the competition. So I'm not too surprised that Alice is there, but the support will come in from Gomez and Ogolola.
Man in charge today is Baba Leno of Guinea. Chukwu Ezenwa, the venerated goalkeeper and captain of Nigeria.
Who has been one of the most trusted goalkeepers there for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. That's the reason he's always going to be in post for them.
They've chopped and changed throughout the tournament, but they believe with the victory behind them, they have at last settled on a solid and winning blend. But an enforced change today for Nigeria. Stephen Eze ruled out this morning by illness, so Emmanuel Ariyachukwu comes back in. Otherwise, it is the same combination which finally found the net and started to play with freedom against Ghana. 2 goals in 3 second-half minutes for Anthony Okpotu and Peter Moses, which transformed Nigeria's tournament.
Why do you change a winning team? Obviously not. So Coach Salifu has made sure that at least he's going with the same team that can get him the results. Okpotu got a goal finally in the competition against Ghana, and so you have to keep him there, give him the confidence that he needs. And Okpotu playing up front is going to get a lot of support there from Moses Peter Energy, and also getting a lot of support there from Rabiu Ali. So plenty to look out for in this Nigerian team.
Benin's band of brothers. We've talked a lot, actually, Ben, about the expectations back home for Nigeria, but what about the impact a victory here could make on football in the big picture in Benin?
Yep, Benin really having not been powerhouses in African football, but trying to put a team together. And I wasn't really surprised that Coach Umar Chimongo was able to pick up these young players and talented ones who are getting the result for Benin. Now, coming up against Nigeria is going to be a tall order.
Benin get us underway then, from right to left, and away quickly down the left side goes Charbel Gomez, who's been one of their players of the tournament. He's full of tricks, and he's tricked Okoro in the first minute or two twice over. Nice change again. Well, that's exactly what Benin were looking for from the start.
You can't always get it wrong when Gomez has the ball. He knows how to take on centre-backs. He knows how to take the back four of every team. So he gets the ball deep inside the 18-yard box, and Kupo is always going to be the man to look out for.
This was the scene just before kickoff in Nigeria's dressing room.
We give you all the glory for all you've been doing for your great faithfulness, for your greatness, for your
God.
great work. Father, receive all glory in the name of Jesus. Amen. In any way we fell short of your glory, Lord have mercy. Forgive us in the name of Jesus. Amen. Father, we commit this match into your hand.
Quite solemn, wasn't it? Flag had stayed down. I thought Ali might have been offside there. Were there signs when they struggled, Ben, for the first week and a half of this tournament that the unity within the camp was breaking down at all? Was that a possibility, or did Nigeria show a united front?
It did show a united front, but again, the problem was Nigeria didn't really have the confidence coming into the competition because Opochi was not clicking.
Ali has won it back for them here. Well, there's a little range finder, nothing in that at all. Golodjinon, the goalkeeper. So much talk about the young players, which is a big feature of this tournament. Young players who've illuminated this tournament. So many scouts watching from big powerhouse clubs in Europe who are here, but there's one or two more venerable citizens in this Nigeria side, aren't there?
Well, again, it's a team that really have had to come out with a lot of difficulties. Bayere, again, pushed down by Moses Bitteneja. But let me also tell you this, Paul, if you again look at the Benin side, they rely a lot on the wing play. And so Bayere coming in, obviously, Fasuno is going to be on the right wing there. You expect a lot of work to come out from him.
Arumu's conceded another free kick, and it's another, what, 15 metres forward for Benin. It's a bit sloppy, the challenge by Aremu, wasn't it? Helped on by Rabiu Ali. Gomez just checked, but I think he probably knew already that Okoro was in close proximity. Going to be an important battle down the near side to us. Good player, the number 2 for Nigeria, Okoro, the right back. This was the scene as Benin prepared.
On est costaud à mettre pied, on joue, vous savez le faire.
All left to their own thoughts privately. Well, they should be very proud privately of what they've done as a group of individuals, moreover as a team. Just a word about the pitch here today. The venerable groundsman, Frank Boahene, who's absolute world-renowned master of his art, telling us today that he's just taken a couple of millimetres off the top of it. Had to protect it, of course, for the past fortnight to a degree, with so many games played on it. Done a remarkable job to help it hold up so well, and I think there's just a little bit of an extra sheen to it. The ball might move a little bit more quickly, and of course we've had absolutely no rain here for what, the best part of a fortnight.
When you have visitors from Nigeria saying that he is absolutely a great groundsman and they want him in Nigeria, it should be a story that you'd be proud of.
Worked at Fulham Football Club in what was the English Premier League. They're not there at the moment, but it was certainly a Premier League pitch when he had it. Kevin Keegan was his first manager there, and I know how highly he thought of him.
Benin are trying to ping the ball amongst themselves quickly and trying to draw some the Nigerians actually out of their own back, and of course, you know, Nigerians would have to be quick in midfield.
Nice idea by Rabiu to just try and thread it forward. He had a little look to see if Okpotu was on the run, but more to the point, Steve Golodjinon in goal, he read it really well.
Yeah, Golodjinon made a mistake when Victoria Adebayo scored against him in the match against Niger, so I'm not sure this time he want to go there again. Well, Salisu really looking forward to a good game for Nigeria. He's actually been a bit worried when the first two games Nigeria not getting the result, but as soon as he got the result against Ghana, and Salisu really is looking forward to a brighter Nigerian side in the Chan tournament in Kenya later next year.
And an overachiever, really, Omar Chomogo. Winners of Group 2, amazing.
Let me tell you what, in 2004, when Benin qualified for the first AFCON, Omar Chomogo was invited to the national team by a Ghanaian coach of blessed memory, Sese Sojo Nasukwefio, and has gone on to play for the Benin side until he retired. He scored 53 goals, 11 goals in 53 appearances for his French club, Grenoble, 1998, and of course he's looking forward for more.
Peter Moses, flag's gone up. Nice strike on the half turn. Okpotu holding off the challenge of Gabriel, of course. Gabriel came on late on. It provides a different kind of an option, and indeed maybe needed later today by Nigeria.
But I talked about Okpotu, for instance, and his work rate with Lobby Stars back in Nigeria. Again, the call is very much tight indeed. Before the ball was hit, it was onside. So it would have been an interesting call up here.
It would have been, yeah. Yaro was the defender, just dwelling ever so slightly. Can't do that at this level. Yaro back in the side today, of course, for Benin. And in fact, there's a little bit of a debate going on now between the two centre-backs. His partner there, Junior Salomon, just they've got to deal with Okpotu between them, but it was Salomon just saying to Yaro, you have to edge up with me. Gomez.
Now, this man has got some depth touches and some wizardry skills. Anytime he's on the move, you just have to think twice before you can bring him down. But again, Okoro giving out a free kick.
Had the pleasure of meeting some of the Nigerian supporters, travelling supporters. Really enjoying it here. Live on the Fox Sports Africa network and all across the continent of Africa to our affiliate channels and far, far beyond that. And great reception. We thank you very much for all your positive comments in this groundbreaking event here for West African football.
Well, Ghanaians love their football, and so one of the opportunity came for the WAFU tournament to be hosted here, which of course the first partnership coming through from Fox Sports. They knew that something great is a feast of West African football. I keep always saying this, Paul, and that is exactly what you're witnessing. Good football being served to you, and you're seeing some very talented individual players as well.
No arguing about the depth of the talent. Okoro looking for the options with the throw here. Has to go short. On by Aremu. Aniake Adele. Long and straight. That's an easy one for Benin to deal with.
When Nigeria played Benin in Cotonou, the only goal of the game came through a spot kick in the 90th minute after Remo lost the ball in the box and committed a foul, and Mama Saibu converted beautifully for Benin. It was 1-0 before Benin went to Nigeria and got punished by 2 goals.
Efianu this time, he's all apologies here. Foot was high. Looking a bit edgy, the two midfield players, almost to a degree as though Salisu Yusuf has really revved them up to say, look, you've got to get up close. And early on, it was Aremu diving in for a ball he couldn't win, and Efiani all too keen there.
We're doing about 10 minutes of the game, and it's been pretty much of a very compact midfield play between Benin and Nigeria. I did say 2 teams have met before. The last time they did meet was on 19th of August, and so really it's been fresh in their minds.
They are conceding a lot of free kicks, though, Nigeria. Benin go down the outside here. And for a moment, it looked promising for Benin as Bayere got forward. I don't think you can continue to concede so many free kicks, quite honestly. You're inviting trouble on yourself. Cookport. Now let's see how much they can extend with Okpotu. It's a great ball by him. Rabiu Ali for Nigeria, and he slots it over without a problem, and Nigeria go in front in the 10th minute. What a counter-attack that was.
Good goal. Good goal. Rabiu Ali, and what a pass there from Kotu to him. You can always talk about the pass again. I knew it when the ball went down to the left-hand side and he was all alone, Rabiu Mohammed. I knew that that was the moment Nigeria couldn't afford to lose.
Absolutely classical counter-attacking football from Nigeria. Ever since Okpotu scored the first of their 2 goals against Ghana, he has started to move with so much more freedom. A man with a huge burden lifted off his shoulders. A great ball by him, but what about the finish? It was never going anywhere else from Rabiu Ali, steering it unerringly into the corner past the goalkeeper's left hand here. Brilliant.
Good technique, experience, counting, 36 years of age, and he knows how to slot in and get the goals for Nigeria, and that is why he's being relied on in midfield. But again, credit to Okpotu with the pass.
Benin had started brightly, but Nigeria have shown a cutting edge again here, the one that was missing for the first 10 days of this tournament. Saliu has lost out, and they're getting a bit exposed down this side here, Benin. Bayeri eventually got there. Gomez working back against his opposite number, Peter Moses. Benin will not panic. Remember, they showed such mental resolve in that incredible game against Niger. They were beaten 4-0 by Senegal. Didn't let that upset them too much, did it? They came back and they fought and fought and fought against Niger, and eventually they prevailed.
What, they went down as early as the 3rd minute in the match against Niger. Guess what? They came back again. 37th minute got the equalizer, and then in the 87th minute they got the winning goal. So they have that fight back spirit, and they can come from behind and snatch a winner. But it's going to be a tall one for Benin against Nigeria, Paul.
Adeleye didn't get that right. Quite a stiff breeze, a refreshing breeze actually, I'm happy to say, blowing straight down the ground in Nigeria faces in this first half. Might have influenced Ezenwa when we saw him at the toss-up. Actually, he was quite adamant he wanted to play in one direction in the second half, and that should be with the wind at his back. It doesn't die down until the late evening, and of course this game will be over by about 5 o'clock. Incidentally, should it be necessary, no extra time in the schedule, it will be straight to penalties. Yet another free kick won here by Benin.
Again, the left full back for Benin, Bayeri, he's been doing a lot of running down the left wing, and I'm not too surprised he's been packed down for a free kick. Nigeria giving too many free kicks just around their own penalty area, and that could cost them some time.
Definitely so. All very well stopping the threat of the likes of the left back Bayeri, Gomez in front of him. All very well stopping the threat at source, but you cannot keep on conceding free kicks like this.
We've seen 2 players scoring from set pieces, Okoro for Nigeria and Victorien Adebayo for Niger. So perhaps looking forward to this one.
Sebu Mama, one of the ever-presents for Benin in this tournament. He's over the free kick. Friday John working hard. Saliu in the corner. Now this time Okpotu had dropped very, very short. He's very quick on the turn though, isn't he? Even when he seems to have come too short when they try to break out, Okpotu turns and goes so very quickly.
He's got the energy, he's got the power as well. I'm not too surprised that he's rated as one of the best players in the Nigerian league, and so coming into this tournament, a lot was expected from him. The responsibility was huge. It's unfortunate that he couldn't really get in the first 2 games, but as soon as he's got his confidence back against Ghana, hey, why not push it forward?
And sometimes, you know, Ben, it's a bit of a conundrum for the defender that you really cannot afford to let yourself follow in too far, because that sometimes is what he's looking for, because he knows there's so much space once Okpoto himself gets turned that he's got so much room to attack that the defender's in trouble just by going too tight on him.
Yep, I was a bit disappointed when the likes of Junior Solomon and, of course, Yaro decided to follow Kotu, forgetting that they had Ali, who had so much space right in front of the right wing, and you could take advantage of it, and they did, and a goal came out of it.
The early goal, if you're just joining us, which divides the sides. Here's the man who got it, Rabiu Ali. Tangling with Nabil Yaro. And here's the aforementioned groundsman, Frank Bohene. He's smiling now and relaxing, but this man has worked night and day. Oh, mighty sigh of relief. But we're all grateful to have one of the best in the world in charge of preparations for this tournament, and how well this has held up, this setup here. And not just the pitch, but the entire ground surroundings, all his responsibility.
Yeah, he's done that with his team, the Greengrass Technology Group, and really proud to be part of this setup. Remember, they have worked for Ghana back in 2008 during the Nations Cup in Ghana, and since then, he's been doing his best.
Bayere chasing it. Not quite. I think the ball is just that little bit more lively today on this pitch than in previous days. We were warned that would be the case. They both had a long warm-up on it, no surprises.
So one of the busiest players on the pitch there for Benin is Bayere. The left full back is really doing a lot of work.
That got a little bit tight for Nzewa, the goalkeeper. Gomez almost caught him out. Ezenwa, hugely experienced, might have known better. Now watch again as they look to break quickly, and it just does worry me a little bit for Benin that Okpoto just seems to have so much space. He's making nice angles off the centre-backs, and really Nabil Yaro, who just played it clear there, he's giving Okpoto a bit too much room and might pay for it.
You just have to talk about the setup of Nigeria in this game. You have Rabiu Ali just playing right behind Okpoto, which means that he knows the movement to Rabiu Ali. Rabiu knows Okpoto so well, so as soon as Okpoto picks the ball, Rabiu needs to move into space to get a ball to it, and then that's what he's been doing.
Junior Solomon, of course, played with Kunu in the previous game against Niger. It was Kunu and Solomon against Cote d'Ivoire. Kunu and Yaro against Senegal, but of course the Senegal game was Yaro's last appearance and they lost 4-0, and I think that does stay in the mind of a centre-back. Bound to. Heavy defeat like that. So they've not played together a lot as a pair. I think it's showing here early on for Benin.
We probably might talk about the fact that they're sometimes caught flat-footed when the balls are whipped into the goal area of Benin. You are asking a question, is it going to be Yaro going for the ball, or is it going to be Junior Solomon?
Definitely. There's a lovely weight on that one. And a clean pair of heels shown. And that was Okpoto getting across his man again. They're living very dangerously there, Benin. Flowing move it was by Nigeria. Not quite this time for Okpoto. Gomez looks to come away with it for Benin. The flag has gone up. Bit of frustration there for Marcelo Kukpo. What a break it was. And Peter Moses, he can play both sides as well, left and right.
I just have to talk about Bayere's movement. He moved a little bit further up front, and so space behind him. Moses Peter Neja has the speed. He is a player who, when he's cutting, he knows when to pick up Kotu and get a ball to him. So as soon as he got in there, remember, he was looking for Kotu.
Just watch what happens here. Now, I wondered whether Marcelo Kukpo threw a leg then in frustration. And the referee has seen it like that. So the first yellow. And, you know, what's the telltale sign there? There was hardly any complaint about that. Still beginning to make their way in, of course, with the major event in these parts, at least. Still ahead here in the Coast Stadium tonight. The second semi-final between Ghana and Niger. National holiday here in Ghana. Founders' Day.
They have nowhere to go but come and watch beautiful football. I did say that today is a Founders Day, a little holidaying in on the beaches. I'm sure you were thinking about moving there, isn't it?
I'm definitely coming back. So a little concern here for Nigeria, arising from that yellow card for Kukpo. Want to give the referee a little bit of credit there, Babaleno. He saw what was going on with Kukpo. Good work by him.
Yeah, it's Remo who has been stretched off. Of course, Nigeria will be looking forward to thinking what the injury is a very serious one. But Matthias is also on the bench. If Remo is not able to make it, they have Matthias Samuel.
Dropped out of the sky. And good work between the two centre-backs for Nigeria. Arewa Chukwu was a little bit caught out by it, but his partner dug him out of it. Not so sure-footed, the Benin centre-backs again. Solomon went to block it, and it went right over his foot, and they were in trouble again. Saved by the offside flag.
Yeah, I can understand the assistant referee there, because John Obompi was actually looking, yeah, he was offside. He was looking at the assistant referee before making a move, and was a good turn there from Potu.
Really started to work together in unison, the front three for Nigeria, but too much space between Nabil Yaro and Junior Salomon at the heart of that Benin back four. Here's another of the early themes, yet another Benin free kick, won by Kukpo.
Paul, let me tell you a very interesting story, right? This is the second goal Rabiu Ali has scored against Benin. He scored the first goal when Nigeria beat Benin 2-0 in Nigeria to qualify for the Chan tournament. So Rabiu Ali is indeed showing his strength and his capabilities against Benin again. Second goal against the same team in just about a month.
Sebu Mamo again to take for Benin. Azenwa's put two men up to try to provide a screen on the edge of the box. Nigeria going man for man. And the one man who really did a good job was Rabiu Ali. They seem quite confident defending all these free kicks, I must say, Nigeria. Everybody seems to know his job. That's half the battle, isn't it?
They definitely need to crowd themselves out the 6-yard area, because they know that Benin really would have Junior Solomon sometimes charging forward to attack the balls when whipped in.
Azenwa's got a man on his near post and a man guarding it just outside, and that left him to do exactly what it was just demonstrated there. Leap for it with confidence.
You can't leave your rear guard open when playing against such fluid players in the likes of Gomez and Ogolola. Ogolola likes to stay behind the 18-yard box, and the ball that drops in, he's able to hit it once.
Bayera's head, had to do it twice over. Aremu. What I love about Gomez, he's always showing for the ball. He always wants it to his feet, even in a tight area. And again, he shows for it. Some players are happier when it goes somewhere else.
Well, he's very confident, 16 years of age. I'm really worried about his age and what he's been able to do in the competition so far, Gomez. He is very talented, and that's the reason that Benin side is still in the competition.
Well, Potu excellent so far today, taken by Okoro for Nigeria. Half cleared by Solomon. John. They're knocking it around in a fashion we did not see for most of the tournament here in Nigeria. I'd say the training's been sharp and good for the last couple of days, and it's showing here. Kept in by Moses. Kukpo. Well, he wasn't messing around then, Emmanuel Ariachukwu. And again, referee not letting them get away with that kind of thing here in this semi-final.
Well, Nigeria need to watch it. You have Stephen Edze, who's down with an injury. Stomach upset, is not in the game. Ariro Kuchuka with a yellow card. Adeleye doesn't look for me a fit player, playing a centre-back role there with Kuchuka, so they just have to watch it. Also, bound to be concerned. I always think when one player goes down with a stomach bug on the
eve of a game or the day of a game, as is the case with Stephen Eze for Nigeria, the most important man becomes the doctor, because things like that can go through the camp very quickly. If they get through this one today, of course, Nigeria, they've got Friday and Saturday clear before the final scheduled for Sunday, so hopefully it will be dealt with.
Well, Steve Glaginon had his work cut out for him, and he's been doing his best for Benin.
Okpoto won a free kick then. Struggling to get into their rhythm, Benin, and it's showing, I think, in the body language. Bright sunshine still. Bright smiles everywhere on this Founders' Day in Ghana here. Chimaoshe Akas, the number 3 for Ghana. It's probably at just about the extent of his range, but Gologinon is lining up as though he expects to be tested here, and this boy does have a lot of power in that left foot. Let's see what he does here. Back by Oremo. Man down, and again, good work by the referee. It is Kukpo.
Well, I think that there's been a lot of injury concerns for most of the teams in this competition. The first 2 games went really hard on the positions, and so some are still recovering. It's not really been easy, and that you look at it, Kukpo, he went to block the ball and then picked up a bit of a knee problem.
They're already down 1 striker, Waris Aboki. Not available today for Benin. Elegbedi is here, and he too just looks a bit agitated for Benin, doesn't he? No point arguing about it, you're just going to get in trouble with the referee. There you go, it really wasn't that difficult.
I don't know why sometimes players put themselves in that awkward position. You know, it happened when Niger played against Benin. They were a bit aggressive, they were so much into themselves, and that got them 2 red cards in the game, and a bit disappointing. But for Benin in this game, I know it hurt a lot to play Nigeria and go down against them. It's going to be a 3rd meeting. Well, they still believe that they have the advantage over Nigeria anyway.
We've got the guts of an hour and more to play in the game. Nobody's writing Benin's chances off just yet, and they perhaps could just do with a little injection of composure at the moment. They've certainly not settled into much of a rhythm as a footballing force, that's for sure. I don't think anybody could dispute Nigeria have moved the ball around better so far. Another Nigeria free kick, and again a little impetuous by Mama. Covered by Fasinu.
I've not seen a lot around there from the right wing for Benin. Fasinu has been restricted to his defensive roles, and I think it's one of the reasons Niger have kept the balls just around their own half and not been able to move around.
Again, it breaks down for the men in the yellow. It was a hopeful ball forward, wasn't it? There was no real conviction in it. Returned by Salomon. Akas for Nigeria. And again, there's space to be exploited here for Nigeria. All to expose these centre-backs. Just about dealt with by Yaro. Writing's on the wall there, really, at the moment. Afiani gets it going again for Nigeria. Akas. First time off by Ali. Moving smoothly, Nigeria. Bit of a miscue by Oremo, but the confidence to try it. And again, hoisted hopefully forward by Gomez. No problem at all for Nigeria. Getting a bit flat here for Benin, I'm afraid. They get a free kick against Okpotu. It's a bit stop-start, isn't it? But I don't think that will bother Nigeria in the slightest, Ben.
Yes, 30 minutes, and I tell you what, well, extension of the elbow there, and Benin should be worried. I did say I've not seen Fasunu make a lot of runs on the flanks because you have Friday Ubon John there to stop him from making those runs. And then guess what? If Fanyi is doing a lot of work in midfield, then you get to understand that he has Ali sitting right behind Okpotu. Get the ball to Ali, find Okpotu, and get a goal.
What they do not lack is spirit. They'll keep fighting away here, Benin. Kept in by Okpotu. Nicely done to Ifeanyi, and this time he does find the right back, Okoro. It's a great ball in. Oh, what a goal it would have been. Easy stop in the end for Galanajanon, but it didn't look good when Friday John was closing in on it.
Well, that's a poor touch there from Friday John. I think that it was a good ball whipped in there by Okoro, but again, needed a strong touch. But Friday went in with a very poor one. Just look at it. With a weaker foot, and that's how come the goalkeeper had to collect that beautifully.
I mentioned the array of wares outside for anybody who's feeling a bit peckish before kickoff.
We'll call that one the plantain chips. You need one right here. I get you one.
Okay, I will gratefully accept that. More defending for Benin to do. Almost a pause for breath as it goes back to their goalkeeper. Well, it's been given away this time by Solomon. And he's got to get there. Yaru helping him out, but Peter Moses was very close to getting in again. Benin are living very dangerously. Cookpoo's won a free kick this time.
Well, there's been a lot of work by Yaro doing it with Junior Solomon. I think that, like I did indicate earlier on, they've not played together for most of the competition, and so there's been some difficulties.
I just wondered whether there was a penalty shout in here for Nigeria. They didn't make a lot out of it. Here goes Cookpo, and he's looking for something off the referee. He's not getting it either. Now, Cookpo's been yellow carded already. What's going to happen here? This could be terrible for Benin. Elegbede is arguing the toss with him. Well, look at the body language by Azenwa. Now the referee is making his way over here. And it is going to be the worst of all outcomes for Benin, because it is a red for Marcelo Cookpo of Benin, and they are down to 10 men. The referee didn't need telling by Azenwa or anybody else. He has looked like a cat on a hot tin roof since the kickoff today. No composure, one stupid yellow card in the first 5 minutes. This was the first one here for throwing the leg, completely unnecessary, and he's going to pay a very heavy price. He goes away from his man, he throws himself here looking to win something on the edge of the box, and the referee again applying the letter of the law. That is simulation, and that's a yellow card offence.
I tell you what, disappointed in this man, good player, but sometimes he loses his cool. In the match against Niger, did same. Nigerians were bitter about the fact that he never got the card for his simulations. Let me tell you something. When he went down, Junior Solomon told him that that was unnecessary. And so Junior Solomon was having some harsh words against him before the referee gave him a red card. So his players know that what he did was wrong.
A very painful lesson and a very hurtful moment potentially for Benin. Down to 10 now with what, still almost an hour to play in this game. They've overcome all the hurdles placed in their way so far. Zenwa had to rush for that.
You know, when Niger had 2 red cards in the match against Benin, there were a lot of talking points, but again, Elebede went in, good save there from Zenwa.
He had to get that right, the goalkeeper, and he did.
Surprise, surprise, this is a 3rd red card situation we have in the competition, and of course this man has really let the team down. He should be ashamed of himself. He could have done better than what he just did. This is a semi-final game. If you want to get your team into the finals, you don't do this. You don't really put yourself in this awkward position. And for Benin, well, some fans of Niger will be happy because it was during the game that Niger got 2 red cards, and now they have a man with a red card. So they're playing this number of minutes to the end of the game.
Yaro's head. It's a time for cool heads for Benin. Okoro. Now, will Nigeria be able to exploit what should be the extra space? Aremu. Ali. Deflection on it. Good reach by Golodjinon. Does look ominous every time they get the ball in that forward area, Nigeria. Ominous for Benin, that is. Promising for Nigeria, I mean.
Well, Nigerians look pretty when attacking because you have Ifeanyi, you have Rabiu Ali, and you have Okpotu. Guess what? You have Moses Piteneji also supporting. There's a lot of pressure then on the back for Benin, and they have to do a little of overtime to get them away.
Elebede. Saliu's won a free kick this time for Benin. Friday John, all apologies.
But I thought Niger, Benin, for instance, look like they still have a man down even though they're playing 10 against 11, because I'm not seeing much work from Saliu Idrisu.
Yaro went for it. But Saliu, Ogulola, very, very quiet in this first half, Ibrahim Ogulola. And they need those boys now.
Well, Benin really letting themselves down with that red card situation, and you really have to pay for that, because when you're playing against a very strong, composed, compact side like Nigeria, you don't need to have a red card.
Saliu broke it up, but he couldn't keep the ball. Moses looking to run in behind again. Goalkeeper's got to get there, and he did well. And Nzembo at the other end, and now Golodjinon. Well, now we're just beginning, as the stadium begins to fill up, to get a Cape Coast roar in favour of the underdog. Having a little dig at the referee here. The vast majority, of course, waiting for the Ghana match which follows. I thought that was a free kick.
Yeah, it is a free kick, but it went against Benin, not against Nigeria.
Well, I think it was a Nigeria free kick. Maybe I'm...
Well, that's the reason.
Maybe I'll be in the firing line from the crowd here as well.
But the thing is, it's gone to the Nigerians.
The crowd didn't like it. Now they'll probably like this a little bit better because Benin have won a free kick. And just that threat that Nigeria will start to overplay a little bit. Ariwa Chukwu conceding the free kick, but it got a bit sloppy before that. Two-footed. Maybe that should be a card as well. This referee has applied the laws rigorously. That's got to be borderline as well for me.
Well, Benin will feel that that should have been a card, but that will be the discretion of the man in charge, Baba Leno, to decide. You don't tell him what to do, he knows what to do. And so for now, Benin would have to take advantage. But again, I'm looking ahead to what tactical changes. Well, it's going to take an early shower, hasn't it?
He's going to have a long time to brood on this. Is Marcelo Kupko. Fell for Moses. Took a lot out of that. Now, this is the problem for me, Ben, for Nigeria, with the man advantage, that they don't keep doing what they were doing earlier in the game, and they're starting to overplay. And that makes life so much easier for the side down to 10 men. And again, that's unnecessary, really, from Nigeria's point of view. But Benin battling away. Don't say we haven't been warned about this Benin side. The bigger the obstacle, the more fight they find. A bit of room they found with Sedumama in the box. Nigeria just need to keep it simple and keep it moving. But it's got so much more sloppy.
Yeah, I was expecting Nigeria to use the wide areas where they know they have the advantage with speed. Use John Obon Friday on the right wing, and of course get Moses Peter Energy on the left. But again, that's not a story. And so you're still having issues there with Kukpo, who's looking for one of the VIP seats to watch the game.
One of the stories of the first half, the sending off for Marcelo Kukpo of Benin. 2 yellow cards, 2 moments of indiscipline. But Nigeria are certainly going off the boil. Spaces are beginning to open up the other way in the run-up to half-time. And I don't think their coach, Salisa Yusuf, will be very pleased about this, because they should have control of this.
Yes, indeed, because this Aremo is just right in front of the back four. You have Ifeanyi, who's supposed to support the attack, and I'm not seeing that from him now.
Here goes Gomez, and he's away from his man, Charbel Gomez. And the crowd really getting behind Benin here now. The so-called neutral Ghana supporters. Has to be offside here at Potu. Good call. He may or may not be allowed to watch from there for the remainder.
They excite you, don't they? When they have possession, they look very good and are able to get you applaud.
Bayera just overplayed slightly. But the Ghanaians in the crowd, and the crowd swelling all the time here in the Cape Coast Stadium, they're starting to rally behind the underdogs in this game, admiring the pluck they're showing.
You know what? Ghanaians would love to have Benin in the finals and not Nigeria. But again, Omar Chumongo has got a lot of work to do. He's telling the players, listen, we don't have time on our hands now. Just let's go going. And I'm sure they'll be able to get something out of it.
Solomon back to his goalkeeper. That's all a bit indecisive. Boot to ball eventually by Yaro. Akas this time conceding the free kick. Nigeria have got very sloppy.
Well, I think they have, because they seem to be more of a defensive side now, since Benin started coming back into the game. You don't need to do this. They're down by a man, and so you need to get the ball straight into their half.
Okoro almost caught out. Now he's got some defending to do, and Gomez waves him goodbye again. Gomez is threatening here. Good ball back inside by him as well. Benin finishing this half very strongly. On it goes by Mama. Good build-up play again from Benin. Pretty desperate defending by Nigeria.
Certainly, Benin looking very desperate. They should just calm down. They have the energy. They can still get something out of the game.
Now it's Saliu. He's come to life. That wasn't the worst ball either. Gomez slightly caught on his heels, but he has it now. Yaro. He's got a free kick. There'll be 2 additional minutes at the end of this half, probably accountable by the sending off for Kukpo. There was an injury early on as well for Nigeria. And yet another Benin free kick.
Which team has a man down, Paul?
Great question. Bayere. And almost tricked its way past Echekukwu Ezenwa in goal for Nigeria. I'm sure the Nigeria coach, Salisu Yusuf, just cannot wait to get his players by the scruff of the neck here. They lead 1-0. They played all the good stuff for the first 20 minutes. The opposition went a man down, and since then Benin have gone up 3 gears and Nigeria have switched off completely.
They're just 1 gear off now, and that's how come they're struggling. They can't just get the speed moving, and Benin look like a team that has got all their men in the game.
Moses. Ogulola. It's an amazing game, isn't it? The 10 men now are probably the ones saying, well, let's keep playing in this first half. We don't want to stop now.
Well, if you ask me, I see Benin now as gladiators, and they're fighting pretty hard.
Very good description, yes, Ben, and that's how the Ghana supporters here see it too, and that's why they're getting right behind the men in the yellow. No lightning break here by Nigeria. Aliu. Well, there's a contrast in itself. They were turning and going hard at pace, finding lots of space. Now they're just trying to calm it all down. A goal to the good and a man to the good, but you wouldn't know it. Closing few seconds of this first half then.
It'll be a good first half for Nigeria. At least they have a goal to show for it. Benin will feel disappointed to have a Kukpo out of the game, but again, they have been able to come out. They have been able to express themselves pretty well, and that's very impressive about Benin.
It's a semi-final that might yet have many twists and turns here, as it did on the last night of the group games. All look good early on for Nigeria. Rabiu Ali put them in front. The conclusion of a series of flowing Nigeria moves, and Benin looked a little bit out of sorts. Frustration started to grow for the underdogs. Individual discipline let them down in a big, big way. 2 yellows for Marcelo Kukpo, and that meant that Benin had an hour and more to play, down to 10 men. So far, so good for Nigeria, but then the Benin spirit started to show itself, and really in the last 15 minutes of that half, it was the 10 men running the show here, and they are still very much in it. Their spirit never failing them, and more for Nigeria to do. They need to shake themselves up, but at half-time, Benin 0, Nigeria 1.